It's Carla Ann, and so I wanted to talk to you again a little bit about my journey in this whole Scott has cancer thing. And the thing that I want to talk about is a miracle. Um, as you know, we are praying for a miracle. We want Scott to be healed. We would like 30 years of marriage together. Yesterday, we celebrated our 9-month anniversary, and he bought me a beautiful medical alert bracelet. My other one had fallen apart, so it wouldn't help me anything because nobody ever would find it in my pocket, I'm sure. But now I have a nice medical alert bracelet that he blessed me with yesterday. And it's engraved and it says all the right things, so we're good. So yeah, we're celebrating a little bit. We went for breakfast today. So a little update on Scott. He's still not eating. Things are still a little bit rough. He's super tired. He's not sleeping well at night again. And stomach is off. Smells are off. Nothing smells, tastes good to him, and he's vomiting. Although today he hasn't vomited. So we're back on that train, and we've got some new medication that we're trying. So we're still keeping on going. And but I want to talk to you about what is a miracle, because for the last whatever, I guess it's been a month. Like today is a month that I brought him home from emergency brain surgery. Actually, yesterday was a month from emergency brain surgery. So, and we've been on this roller coaster. We're in radiation now. We're in naturopathic treatments, and things are moving along, but we can't really tell, right? So one of the things that sort of come up, and I love it when you guys make comments and say things and ask questions, and I'm not offended at all. So keep going. It's good. I like the private messages better though, because if you just leave comments, I might not find them all. So feel free and just send me messages privately. That would be great. But one of the things is, okay, so we're doing radiation and we're, doing the naturopathic treatments, and this week we start another one that we're going to talk about on another video coming up soon. So we're doing all of these things, and so there's this little bit of there's some sort of static that says, well, why are you doing all these things? Don't you trust God for a miracle? And yeah, we do actually trust God for a miracle. And until he gives us that miracle, we're going to do the things that we know to do. And so, and we don't know what kind of miracle he's going to give us. So we're going to talk a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, we're still going to do the things that he's taught us to do. That would be wisdom. So yeah, we're doing all of these things. Yes, we have faith for healing. And we totally believe God can. And we totally believe he will heal. We just don't know exactly what that's going to look like, through which method, and what that timeline is that healing going to come. Is that timeline going to be here on earth so that we can have those 10, 20, 30 years of marriage? Or is his healing going to happen in eternity? So like whether that's a short life on earth and then he enters into his healing, or what that looks like, we're not sure. But we know God will heal. We know God will heal him. And one day he will be completely cancer-free and his memory will be completely back intact. And so I know by saying that, you guys are going to say, does that mean it's not? And yeah, there are a few things that we're noticing with Scott's memory and some of his cognitive ability, and this made me make me cry. Slight, small things that are being affected. But overall, he's doing really good. So we're just keeping track of some of those things so we can see if there's a correlation to a certain kind of memory or timelines, things like that. So we're really not sure exactly what's going on, or if things will continue to improve now that he's had radiation. So, but yeah, we believe that there will be healing, whether that's now or in eternity. We're not sure. We really don't know God's plan. We're very, very human. So there's one of the questions is like, well, don't you believe for healing? Yes, we do. We do believe for healing. And until then, we will do the things that we know to do. So the question has come up, well, then you're not really believing. You're doing all these things instead of waiting for God to heal. You're trying all these man-made things. And, you know, there's so many different kinds of miracles. And so right now, if we look at where we are in the world of medicine and science, there are a lot of things that we would consider normal or everyday or common sense. But go back 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, these would have been seen as miracles, right? Because it was unheard of. It was a way God was providing healing through science. And there's things that God is doing in our lives every single day that we are not even aware of, and we don't give him credit for those as miracles. Years ago, when I was leading a group of women, and I did a challenge, often did a challenge, and the challenge was don't pray for yourself for 1 month. You could pray for others, but you couldn't pray for yourself. And one of the things that was really astounding is how many people felt like if they didn't pray for their children as they got on the bus, that the bus would be in an accident and it would be their fault because they didn't pray for it. And, or if they didn't pray for traveling mercies, or, you know, whatever it is, those things are that we pray before we go to bed or pray before we do a certain thing. And it's become like a mantra. It's become like a potion or a chant or something that we do, thinking that if we don't do that, somehow God is going to like drop the ball and say, you didn't pray that prayer, so now I'm going to get you for it. And that's just not the character of the God I serve. I serve a God who is love. And sometimes that looks differently than what I understand, but that's because I'm human. My brain is this small and I don't get it. I just don't get it. I can't understand the whole wide world. And I don't, like, if you have any logical sense in your thinking patterns, which most of us do, some are more logical than others, but it's not hard to see that if one thing happens to one person, there's a ripple effect. So there's, you know, it's kind of like this question of can a farmer pray for rain, but the, you know, picnickers pray for sun? Is God going to answer both? He can, but chances are one of them is going to get it right, get what they want that day. So is it really a miracle when we just get what we want? Is it a God thing when we get what we want? No, actually it might be, but it could just be the way God set things up. It's the natural course of things because he set things into orbit. He set things into place. He set science into motion, whether that's gravity, for example, or inertia. All of these things are at play. And then God is a God of self-control. He's going to let those consequences play out. He's not going to always interrupt them. So there are things, though, that we believe are miracles when God interrupts the natural course of things, the things that he set into motion, and the things that are normal and natural for this world. And that could be, in my case, cancer. The normal route for cancer in this world is you get cancer, you suffer from cancer, you die from cancer. And so we would believe that an interruption in that would be a miracle. Now, whether that interruption happens through medicine, scientific, radiation, chemotherapy, or whether it happens through naturopath, or if it happens, I don't know, like just poof, one day he's all better, like that kind of miracle. It's still a miracle when God like steps in and changes the order of things. So let me go back to that story where my ladies were praying and they were not praying for themselves for a month, and this like blew up as like a question about our faith. The thing is, God is always watching. God is always watching. He's always loving. He's always caring for you and for me and for Scott, and it never stops. So like I've fallen down the stairs. Or one of my little people that lived here at one point fell down the stairs, and she's like, "Mama, see us. What have you done? Did you get broken?" It was like hilarious. And I felt quite broken when I fell down the stairs, but simply tripped on my way down, fell all the way down the stairs, And yeah, so does that mean that God didn't protect me that time? And like, oh, God fell down on the job? Well, I think that's just a lot of me being clumsy. But what that actually does tell me is that all the other times in my life when I didn't fall down the stairs and I am just as clumsy and wearing slippery socks on my hardwood stairs, it's possible that God did all of those miracles, tens of thousands of miracles as I was walking downstairs and I didn't fall. Is it possible that we're not giving credit where credit is due more often? Maybe there's miracles everywhere we look, but we're just not looking. Maybe we're only looking for the God things that are to our own benefit, and we're not giving credit to all of the other things that maybe don't feel like they're going our way, but they're still, it's still orchestrated by God for our, just sharpen us, for our benefit in the long run. I mean, gracious, there are so many things that as I look back now, on my more than 5 years of 5 decades of living, I look back and there are very specific things that at the time I thought were tragic. And looking back, I'm going, oh, wow, if that hadn't happened, then A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I can see how a chain of events could have happened that would not have been beneficial. But yet that little piece that felt so awful in the moment was actually a miracle, because God intervened and in his sovereignty is making things work. And so right now, here I am, I'm praying for a miracle. I want God to intervene and go, voila, poof, he's all healed, right? And I don't know if he will. I really don't know if he will, but that doesn't mean he's not already doing miracles. We've already given you a video about the miracle of the panic attacks and the anxiety attacks regarding breathing and lung issues and all of that. But there's been other little miracles. Like, we should have already had his funeral. Scott should already be dead, except for the fact that there were, like, we ended up at the ER and they found out, instead of sending, and like his symptoms were so normal. You know, I have a mild headache, I'm nauseous, I can't keep food down. They could have said, this is the flu, go home, take some gravel, you'll be fine. He didn't have a fever. There was nothing, like his pain wasn't a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. It's like, it's maybe between a half out of 10 and a 2 out of 10. And yet, for some reason, after sitting in the ER for hours and hours, someone decided we should send him for a CT scan. And they did. And they found tumors. And so, like, it's just, they could have sent him home. They could have sent him home. I can't tell you how many times I know people have been sent home from the ER when it's something serious and it didn't go like it should have. And yet, when Scott was there, someone got this brainwave. Was it a brainwave, or was the Holy Spirit saying, hey, this one here needs a CT scan. This one needs to be sent for an MRI. This one needs a different hospital that can handle this. Did God intervene? I believe he did. I believe God is active and working in our world. So I believe that was a miracle. The fact that we begged the surgeon, please take out both tumors that are sitting on the brainstem when you go in there. And he said, nope, absolutely not. It's too much damage to healthy brain. We can't core through that much healthy brain and take it out without too much damage. Not doing it. We're going to take out the big one. The other one stays. And what did they do? They took out both. Why? Because when they got in there, they saw that it was not going to help if they just did one. So us being prepared for two being removed, and then the doctor going in and actually doing it and seeing it, like, yeah, God is in charge of that. He made sure they saw that. That's where the physical and the spiritual sort of collides, and we don't understand all of it. Because for sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work the way we want. And so then we say, oh, we needed a miracle, we didn't get it. But I actually think sometimes we get the miracle and we're not really sure what the miracle is, because we're only looking for things that fit what we want in our way, in our time. And so I want to just let you know that for those of you who are praying for miracle for us, we are grateful and we are seeing miracles, like the anxiety one that I told you about. The fact that his radiation, we got to day 4 before the nausea and the swelling and the vomiting got too bad. That's pretty cool that we got there that fast. I mean, we got that far before it hit. The fact that he's really doing well. His balance is pretty good. He's walking without a walker. These are all steps of that we would consider a miracle because he should be dead, and yet he's not. And so is it a miracle? Is it science? Is it the natural path we're doing? Is it the other supplements we're taking? Like, what is it? Is it the food, the diet? I think that the way God created this world, he has created it for his wisdom and his touch to intersect ours at different points throughout our day, throughout our lives. And are they the same kind of miracles where you can, see a person's limb grow back? No, not that kind. But I don't think it's any less powerful or any less God touched or divinely designed if the miracle doesn't look just like that. So we're still looking for that big wow miracle, but we also know that in the day to day, there are other miracles that are happening, that are taking place, and we want to give God glory for those. For all the miracles that we don't even see, where he's intervening without getting credit for it, because we just are so human, we can't see it all. And we'd like you to give thanks to God for those miracles as well. He's doing them in your life. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we drive on these highways here in Canada. It's slippery sometimes and icy, and there's crazy people on the road. And sometimes there's accidents. But how many near misses are there because God's got an angel there for you, or he himself has put his hand there to say stop and no farther? Like, there's just so many things we cannot be aware of. So I'm just going to invite you to open your eyes to all of the things that God could be doing that could be miracles, but you don't even know it. So I want to invite you into that wonder, invite you into that mystery, and then to participate with the miracles that he's already done, the miracles of medicine and the miracles of wisdom he's given to these doctors and researchers and scientists to do all this stuff. I mean, who wakes up in the morning and says, I wonder if we could shoot these radioactive waves into these radioactive bodies and like just target it, and like, who might be the experiment for this? I mean, yeah, there's been like mistakes and there's been things going all along the way, but somebody had to get that idea, and somebody was studying God's creation and came up with this plan. I cannot look at that and go, yeah, that's pretty phenomenal. And I think God probably had a hand in that. And so, I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but I think it's actually more naive to think that somehow, I, in my frailty and in my humanity and in my small amount of wisdom and knowledge, can somehow navigate this world as well as I have without a lot of collateral damage. And considering the fact that many of us have had accidents, traumas, difficult relationships, and very, very, very difficult experiences that desperately needed a miracle, and we felt like we didn't get them. We know how easy it is for those things to happen. And I think that we need to just really look at how many times it didn't happen and give God credit for that. So my view on Scott's miracle is that there's going to be one, that there already have been ones, and there are miracles every day. And I'm inviting you to look around in your world and to just look at all of the things that have not happened and give God credit for those, because he really is good. He really does love you. And you might even want to send me some encouragement by telling me what some of those miracles are, the unseen miracles of God, because I think they're actually more incredible than we give credit for. Love you guys.